Hey everyone, I wanted to do an update on where we are with Curiosity Chronicles, snapshots of ancient history. We had a lot of people interested when I shared in our curriculum video that this is what we were going to be using for history this year. Really wanted to hear how we liked it, and we are more than halfway through the year. We are not more than halfway through the curriculum, but we are choosing to move on from it at this point. I want to preface this by saying I think this is a great curriculum, and I can see how it would work for a lot of people. I'll just tell you why we're choosing to stop at this point using it. We may pick it up in the future, but we have decided to go another route that's working a little bit better for us. So, first of all, my daughter is in second grade, and she's 7. And the things that I like about this curriculum is, one, that it's secular. 2, that it reads aloud nicely, and that there is also an audio you can put with it. If I were to do this again in the future, I think I might just use it solely as a read aloud, where we read a chapter every night or a chapter every morning, and not use it as like a main textbook, I guess. So the curriculum is broken down so that you can there's different ways you can break it down. They give lots of different sample schedules and how to do it. What it really came down to for us, a few of the early chapters we really enjoyed and we spent a lot of time on them, but what it really came down to is to spend an entire school year for us on ancient history when my daughter is 7. It just didn't make a lot of sense for us. We feel like there's a lot of time down the road for her to focus in on one time period for an entire school year. And right now we'd rather do a more abbreviated trip through ancient history. She's only 7. She doesn't need to know all there is to know about ancient history. She needs to have a basic understanding of the timeline and some different things that were going on. But we just realized we don't want to spend an entire school year on it. What I guess one other thing that I both liked and I didn't like is this is in the instructor's manual. So when you there were several typos in the instructor's manual, which I found annoying, but I liked that they had other reading suggestions. However, sometimes the books were older or hard to find. So that could be frustrating. And then I didn't like all the cross references. So like for this particular chapter, there were 3 cross references that they would want you to then go read sections that are marked in these other books. And some of them, like one we just did somewhat recently, there was like 6 different cross references. Not that you have to go read all those, but then you feel like, am I being thorough if I don't go check all those out? I don't want to have these 6 books plus my instructor's manual plus the book itself. It's just too much. It just felt like too much. And then I guess another thing that we struggled with, like in the beginning, we really liked the prehistory chapter and the like hunters and gatherers chapter. We were able to do kind of more unit studies with them. But once we get because this takes like the timeline approach, when we get to ancient Egypt, it's not doing all of ancient Egypt at once. It's coming back to it several times and then going out, we may have a chapter on ancient Egypt and then we go to ancient Sumer and the Sumerians. And then we go to the Indus Valley and then we might come back to Egypt. So to me, that made it hard from a unit study approach, which was kind of, I think, a little bit more of what I was hoping to do. So those are kind of the main reasons that we're switching. We've done what we could do, and we're not going to finish this curriculum right now. Down the road, we might when she's a little older, but I feel like for her age now, it's just kind of too much. But the teacher guide or the student guide was fine. I found it helpful though I wish, and maybe it's in the download somewhere and I didn't see it, but I wish there was an answer key as well, because I want to make sure that I'm giving her the right answers. And that may be there, so it may just be that I didn't look for it. But I liked that we had some key vocabulary to kind of focus on. I know we could answer these, but again, I just felt like at 7, I don't know how much of that was really important of a takeaway for her. So what I think is a better fit for a 7-year-old is this. And so this is kind of what we are moving forward with. We are just notebooking. This is what I wish I would have done. It's just basically, we could have done it in 7 weeks, 7 or 8 weeks. Gone through kind of what is history. And then this one breaks it down by Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, China, and Aztec. So it's not as thorough as this, but I feel like for a 7-year-old, this would be more than enough. This is for grades 1 to 3. I would probably, and what we will do, because we're going to finish what we haven't done in this so far, is to have some nonfiction books out on the shelf the week we do whichever unit we're doing. Have some kind of fiction independent read that relates, a fiction read aloud that relates, and maybe a picture book or 2 read aloud that relates. And then if we want to reference any of our nonfiction books for a little bit more information, or just during, quiet reading time, we can do that. So I feel like this one would be a little bit more simple, and this was getting a little overwhelming for us. So it's not a bad curriculum. We may come back to it in the future. We may come back to it solely as a read aloud, because it was interesting the way it was written. I've read excerpts from the Pandia Press secular kind of ancient civilizations book, and then we've read this one, and I prefer this one. However, I don't like Story of the World, so I don't know where that falls into all of this either. So anyway, it's not a bad curriculum. It just is not going to work for us right now at this age. So I don't want to discourage you from using it, but that's kind of our experience with it. Is I just felt for my 7-year-old it was too much. I don't want to spend an entire school year in ancient history, and for her age, I feel like this is a more appropriate amount of information, and pretty much this has everything we need. So we're trying to go simplify. So that's what we're going to use for this. And that's the best I can tell you on this. So I don't want to say that it's a negative. It's just not for us right now. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. But like I said, we didn't make it super far through this book. So I don't think we even made it halfway. And again, that's just because it got then overwhelming, and I thought, how do I know she's retaining all this information? And then I thought, does she really need to retain all this information? And which parts of this are important? And hold on, I've got to cross-reference 6 different books down here and whatnot. So yeah, I think it would make just a nice read aloud in your homeschool, a chapter or 2 a week, but it would go for 36 weeks. So at any rate, take with that what you will, and let me know if you have questions, and I will talk to you soon.